All right, you're last.
Okay, we'll call the Pownal Select Board meeting to order on Thursday, June 7th at 7 PM for the agenda approval. Public comment, approval of the minutes of 5/17, special 5/17 for the regular, 5/24 special, 5/31 special, and 5/31 special. We have two specials on 5/31. Warrants, mail, administrative assistant report, road foreman's monthly board meeting, road foreman's report, tandem truck bids, Better Back Roads grant, Vermont DEC municipal road grants in aid program, gravel purchase. Under old business, we got the website newsletter, town plan final steps, large gathering ordinance discussion, project list prioritization and schedule, cash receipt policy. Under new business, Pownal Housing Rehabilitation Revolving Loan Fund, and outside auditors inquiry, and 10 is personnel. What's your pleasure, guys? Need a motion to accept the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Anything to be added? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any public comment tonight? Unheard. Approval of the minutes of 5/17 special meeting.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I abstain, of course, if I wasn't at these things. 5/17 regular meeting.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any changes or no discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain. 5/24 special.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Sorry, I snorted.
All those in favor say aye.
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 5/31 special.
Move to approve.
I'll second. I wasn't gonna race you.
Okay, just as long as you're not racing and see it does. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And 5/31.
Guess what? Move to approve.
Okay.
And I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 It's gonna be a
Okay.
long meeting, let's get to that.
Warrants. Set that there, something else. Put this down. Okay. Okay, this is for accounts payable ending 5/18/18 in the amount of $35,018.37. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, this was for Basin Brothers Trucking was 23,000, that's the large part on that. All those in favor say aye. I usually do them all. I'll do the rest
Aye.
before you do that. That one's large enough that probably should. Accounts payable ending 5/25/18 in the amount of $18,157.33. Payroll, accounts payable rather, ending 6/01/18 in the amount of $8,983.76. Accounts payable ending 6/8/18 in the amount of $33,714.55. Fairfield LL was 20,000. It's the large one. Back. Payroll report ending 6/08/18, the amount of $8,289.22. Payroll ending 6/01/18 in the amount of $7,690.20. Payroll ending 5/25/18 in the amount of $8,623.00. Accounts payable ending 6/09/18 in the amount of $3,433.69. I'll get a motion to approve all those but number 3, which was 6/08/18 payroll. Get a motion to do that, and I'll tell you why the other one is here.
Second.
All in, any
You lost me
discussion?
there, Nelson.
It's a motion for all but number 3,
All payroll?
which was for a payroll for 6/08/18 ending. Okay. So I got a motion, a second, no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 I get a motion for just Payroll 60818 for the $8,289.22. The reason why I had it separate is I got paid in that, and I'm not gonna book for it. So, all those in favor?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain. Okay. Takes care of that.
Can I get paid in one of them?
Sure can.
Thanks.
Right after
Can I make about
July 1st.
10,000?
No, you'll
Oh.
make your yearly, whatever, it's up to now, about $1,000 or a little more.
Worth a try.
Nice try.
Get
Nail.
extra for rooster fights.
Let's get the nail here. Okay, we have a large number of people that have responded to our newsletter, all of which has been positive. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 3 of those. And then we have, oh, I think that was all of those. Then we have a letter from one of our concerned citizens to do with the adoption of the new town plan and where people were being recognized. Basically, so people understand is there was so many different people at different meetings that had spoken that I didn't know all the names and stuff, so when it was sent to me, and I know that Mike Bratcher, I think, also said he had reached out to other people and couldn't get all the names. I said rather than miss somebody and take and have it, he said that we skip somebody on purpose. I made a recommendation that he thanks everybody that was involved and that the select board was greatly appreciative of all the people that did come out for the town plan. I know we said that at a meeting, but we never put it in the book, and I think we should do that too.
So it's a general thanks without naming any names.
That's right, but it made sure that we, as a board, also recognize that, not just the planning commission who wrote the plan,
Right.
because they sign off too. I want to make sure we make the statement.
I like that.
Then is it, does it name anyone? I mean, one thing I would think is this.
Select board and the planning board.
But it's over 6 years, so there's quite a few members. Maybe that ought to be just general all the way across.
Yeah.
Like something like thanks to all the planning commission and select board members past and present, as well as the hundreds of Pownal residents who contributed, or, you know, whatever the wordsmithing is. That might make more sense, because in,
Yeah, of course, they had to thank the people that gave us the money. They had to thank the people that wrote it. And then that's what they did, past and present, all the planning commission, and they might have missed people there too. I'd have to go back and look and see. And then all the Pownal Select Board, past and present. Because that's the reason, this plan has been worked on for a large number of years.
right, so it'd be an awful lot of commission members and board members to actually
Yeah, they
name
did.
out. So if we're not gonna, I mean, you think of it this way, I mean, I can think that, there are some citizens who put more work in than some board or commission members, and vice versa. And so why name anyone, I guess, is what
I guess I wouldn't make that broad a statement that there was individuals that put more than some commission members being on those boards at times.
On average, that's not true. On average, that's not true, but I mean, there are some individuals who did
Yeah,
more
I
than
think
others.
towards the end of the process, when people became, let's face it, we did a better job of publicizing to the public and making people aware that there was a town plan. And at that part of it, we had much more participation by the public, and we had some very, more participation from some than others. But I think that really, one of the large things should go to that is really the select board for pushing as hard as it did to make sure people knew about it. The fact we put up a website and people knew about it. Those were things that I think made a major push in how people learned about this and actually came out to contribute. Because I think if they didn't know about it, we wouldn't have seen
I think
it.
that's true, but doesn't it still cover it to just have a general statement rather than to itemize people, because then who do you miss?
Well, I think you gotta, the general statement can be for the public that's out there because you don't know all the public. We certainly do know who served on the planning board, who served on the select board. That's an easy get. You get them out of the town report. The others, not so much. If we, again, here we are, and if we did forget a name, we'd be in this same discussion.
Exactly.
I think it only proves my point that we have to be more general in who we think out there. because we will miss somebody and we'll have them here doing the same thing. They'll be discussing about, why wasn't my name in there, I did this, and, no. I wanna make sure that we thank everybody, and that we only hope that now that we're moving on to the next phase, which is village destination areas and bylaws, that they participate as much in that as they have in this town plan.
I agree with you.
I agree with what you're saying about not naming anyone individually, except for, I mean, so we're gonna name each individual on the planning commission for the last 6 years and on the select board for the last 6 years.
Probably the last
I mean,
10.
why?
Probably the last 10, not 6.
But
Because I know
why
that,
wouldn't
I know we
just
worked on it
make
at least
that
that long.
why wouldn't we just make that a general statement also? That's my question.
Well, it's hard enough to get members, so let's not recognize them in any way.
I don't need to see my name in print.
Well, that's you, but you know what I mean? That
Others might.
The others might. They put in a lot of effort, they work hard. I think they're glad to see their name in print and recognized for doing something like the town plan as members, and I hope they come back and apply again.
But you could say the same thing about the public. There
I
are
do say
certain
about
members
that.
of the public who put in a lot of time and effort and aren't being recognized by name. So now are they going to say, well, why bother? I mean, I don't think a
Well,
planning commission member would do
well,
it.
I
I
would-
don't think a select board member
I
would
would
do it. And
hope
hopefully the
that
public
we as a
wouldn't either.
select board can entice those people. And rather keep repeating this, because we're repeating it, I'm gonna move on to another.
That's it, move on.
Thank you.
Okay, now, next letter we have. This, I think we're gonna cover later, this is to do with the policy. And I think that's on our agenda, yeah, cash
is, yeah.
receipt policy, so I'm gonna put that aside. I have a Vermont Agency of Transportation Department of Motor Vehicles Municipal Accessible Weight Permit, I actually have 2 of them. One is for Bill Lonsberry and one is for KT Powers Incorporated. What would you like to do, guys?
Motion aside.
Second.
Any discussion on either of them? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, let's get to that. The Hoosick River Hydro gave us a copy of the letter that they sent into the Federal Emergency Regulatory Commission, FERC, in what they have to do for submitting for the natural resources and wildlife and et cetera, for their flow management plan. I find this quite interesting, and it's got a lot of details on how the hydro actually works and some of the components of the hydro, which is good to have. Somebody wishes to understand more how that works.
It's pretty cool to visit.
Okay, and we have an invite from the Elks to do with Flag Day ceremony, and they would like to have someone from the town attend if they would. And they'll be presented with an American flag from their organization to bring down to the town. Anyone wish to attend that? It's on Washington Avenue, beginning at 1 p.m. in Bennington on Sunday, June 10th.
That's this Sunday.
Yes, so,
Who normally goes and it receives it?
well, we've had selectmen go up in the past. I don't know if anybody went last year or not. I don't recall anybody going last year. But they do this every year, and if one of you wish to go, at the time, I'm out of town, so.
I am also.
I'm working.
But there's the invite if you wish to go. Okay. Then we got a copy of the Brattleboro Development Credit Corp's articles and newsletters. And we got a copy of the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance and their meeting agenda for June 13th. And it will be held at Arlington Town Hall from 4 to 6. I assume Tom usually attends those and gives us a little report. Then we got another workshop coming up for local officials essential to land use planning and regulations. It's actually going to be held here at the Sound Right Library, 97 Main Street, 4:30 to 6 p.m. on June 11th, which is a Monday. So, another one is on June 13th in Sunderland Town Office, if people wish to go to that one instead of the Pownal. And it's to do with, like I said, essential land use planning and regulations. That one we're gonna deal with afterwards, which is the health one. That one. There you have the zoning administrator report. Basically, there was 6 applications received, 2 were verifications, 3 permits which were issued at the time, porch addition and a garage, and then there was a lot line adjustment that went to the DRB for their review and okay. That's that. Then I got sheriff report. At Bennington County Sheriff Office have patrolled 26.5 hours. There were 2 9/11 hangups, 4 agency assists, 2 public assists, 1 burglary alarm, 2 suspicious events, 2 accidents, 3 agency assists, 2 motor vehicle complaints, 3 VIN verifications, 35 directed patrols all over town, 37 traffic tops, and 18 tickets were issued, 19 written and verbal warnings were out there. And then, of course, the property checks they do about town. Okay, I did that. I'm gonna wait on that one. Okay. Delinquent tax report. Current delinquent taxes as of 6/01 is $154,957.42, which includes interest and penalties and any other charges. Which I think is considerably down from last report.
Can we ask if that's up or down right now?
You can?
Yes, that's down.
It is
The
down.
base,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say
The
it.
principals like at 134 and that usually doesn't hit that until
Okay,
September, October.
I was gonna say it down quite a bit actually,
thank you.
when I looked at it. Okay, this is for the delinquent sewer tax bills. And currently with all the 4 quarters payment plus interest and penalties, it's $11,840.94. Base amount was $9,734.25. And I wish to announce that the sewer bill is 4th quarter due by June 30th. All sewer for 2018 will go delinquent as of July 1st and will receive an 8% penalty if you haven't paid by then. So I'll repeat that. As of July 1st, it'll receive an 8% penalty. So if you owe something and wish to get it paid without the penalty, do it now.
Nelson, we also accept postmark, just so they know, okay? I forgot to write that in there, so if they
Okay,
mail
so-
it out on the 30th, as long as it's postmarked, it's just like the taxes. We
Okay.
accept postmark on the due date.
Okay. If you didn't hear that, basically she's saying as long as you postmark it out by the 30th, it'll be fine, if you send it in the mail. Okay. And we have a Vermont Community Foundation grant that was awarded to our town. Megan Randall was the grant applicant through the town with the town approval. And basically, the grant amount was $825. And the grant money would be used for signage, warning against littering and illegal dumping, do some camera installing to catch people that do illegal dumping in various parts of the town, and any other small items that might be needed to use in cleanups from desk gloves and et cetera. So, thanks for applying for
job,
the grant,
Megan.
and they did a good job of cleanup this year too when they were out there doing a
It was-
bunch of cleanup.
A great day.
So that all helps in that, doesn't sound like much, but it goes a long ways.
And they have another one planned, I think, July maybe 15th to do the tubs.
Oh,
Oh, good.
July 14th for the tubs? Oh,
I
great.
think,
Good,
I
good.
think we've requested to come to a
meeting.
select board meeting later this month.
Good. And we can put it in the newsletter too. Okay, with that done, administrative assistant report.
Well, Freeman came to the office to research documents related to the transfer station, closed landfills, and the treatment facility Superfund site. Since then, he's completed the preliminary research for the solar arrays. The town is in receipt of 3 checks in the amount of $1,000 for each site as the good faith. And he's forwarded the leases, which have been reviewed and commented on by the town's attorney. The leases have been made available to the board for review and comment, and maybe we can put that on the agenda next week.
If you would, please.
Did we want to, on that same note, did we want to talk to Ralph again? I forgot his name, Ralph Minia? I saw a news report that said the net metering laws have changed, and I think that might have an impact on the payback, and maybe ask a couple more questions.
You can talk to Ralph and see. Yeah, I'd like to have the attorney have those prepared for us to sign. I looked at the changes, I thought they were good, but the other people need to look at them and make a comment if you think there should be more changes in that contract. Then we can, when we listen to Ralph and deal with it, we can either make more changes or sign them if they're ready, so.
Okay, there was additional public records research for the city of North Adams. The city intends to sell their property located in Pownal. I coordinated the flowers, supplies, and flags for Memorial Day.
Before you go on, they're talking about the land off of the Dummy Nova Road, the 200 acres there that wasn't sold to the National Forest. What piece? Okay, because I don't know if they own other land, but
The
that's,
white, I believe it's the White Oaks piece over
okay,
there.
It's a watershed by the White
Yeah,
Oaks.
it's the watershed.
yeah, what's left of theirs.
Right. Yeah, they had to do some extensive research in here, and we had to really pull some old files. As you're aware, we have some new office staff, and everyone is helping to get everyone settled in. Chuck has been here several times to get computers set up for the listers, and he's completed the telephone installation. He'll be back at some point to migrate lines to the automated attendant. The alarm company had an electrician here all week working on the fire alarm installation. They'll be back. I've been working back and forth with Sheriff Schmidt on the traffic ordinance. Joel and I took a road trip to clarify the designated open roads. We made some edits to the ordinance for the open roads, and when it gets to the point where the board's going to have the ordinance in their hand, you may want to revisit the designated roads. There's just a couple of things that Joel and I noticed that didn't quite make sense, so keep that in mind. I had a worker comp audit last month actually. The town will owe an additional premium of about $5,000 due to our payroll being higher than estimated. And unfortunately, the road department will pay the majority of the additional premium due to overtime. The fourth quarter sewer billing was sent out, and I'm just going to reiterate, reminder to sewer users that accounts must be paid in full by June 30th. And finally, MSK brought Goldstone Architecture here to look at the office foundation and the mold remediation. A copy of their assessment was included in the board's packet. The work that was anticipated was quoted to cost approximately $91,000. So this gives the board a good idea of what the project might cost if you choose to proceed with the repairs. And that's it, and that's the report. That's what it looks like in your packet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions?
So on the municipal roads ordinance, what's our projected time frame to have that completed?
Should be, as I put it on your project list last week, by the end of the month.
Okay.
It should be before the board.
Great.
Any other? Road foreman, you're up.
Down here, I guess, a little bit. The left. talk about tonight. Okay, as everybody knows, we're grading roads in between rain showers. We're on Skippery Road. We finish up in North Pownal probably next week and move to South Pownal and head up that way. We replaced the culvert on Skippery and Hemlock Hill Road, going from a 24 to a 36 inch, lowering it. We're stoning it now. That was for the BCRC grant we got. And we're continuing ditching, mowing roadsides, digging test holes in the neighboring gravel pit. Finished cleaning off the bank and ditching on Skippery Road up by Pat Miller's. We dug a bank back, cut the trees and took the fences out and stuff. Ditched it. The water always came down and ran across the road there, cutting the road out. So hopefully we have that done. And then a lot of seeding and mulching on all these projects. Projects coming up, West Carpenter Hill Road, we have the 2 grants. You guys will have them tonight to sign. Road grading, roadside mowing, blacktop bids, and scheduling. That'll be next week on that.
The grants that we had to sign, are they in your folder underneath you?
They are.
A lot of paperwork. It's very good. Several trees on this table. No, it's horrible.
Well, it's just that we'll take care of those now if they're there, and then we can move on with the rest of the road stuff. I happened to take a drive up over Mount Anthony Road over to the Bennington side, and I noticed they did a bunch of stone line ditching and stuff. Is
There-
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Happening here?
Yes,
They did a nice
yes,
job on that side.
yeah. We did Man Hill last year and,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen that last year. I just did the stone looked a little smaller than what we had on the hill on the Mount Anthony Road I saw.
You talking about Bennington side?
I just found
Yeah,
one.
we haven't done it on our side yet. the Bennington side.
Oh, okay.
Carpenter Hill and Cedar Hill Road both look great, or feel great.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
So thank you.
I kinda actually forgot about this. I read about it a long time ago and I signed it. We're gonna participate in the systematic local road safety program. Reviewing the V-Trans handout. Actually, we didn't get the handout, did we? We never did. That's why I kinda put it aside. Attendance to a site visit by road foreman. V-Trans will review the critical curves in your municipality. A safety improvement project composed of signs, marking, and/or beacons will be constructed. The improvement projects will be contracted by V-Trans under the umbrella construction projects. Will be no cost to your municipality. The signs, marking, and/or beacons shall be in conformity with the current manual for uniform traffic control devices.
Was that markings? Is that what you said?
Signs, critical curves. We went through this on South Stream Road 2 years ago. We got some kind of grant to do that, and we went through all the signs. He sent a plan down. I approved it, and we're on the waiting list to get it done.
So this is
I don't
another
know
one
if you
that we're
read
waiting
that or
for.
not, did you?
This is just another one that we're waiting for though?
Yeah.
That was the areas that they were known prone for accidents, wasn't that the case?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you leave it in your folder till they get here and do your thing. Now, the reason why I brought up the markings was I noticed that they did the markings on the state roads, but the one place they didn't do was the school marking. You look at it, I don't know if you got a person who can contact, but I was surprised they didn't do that.
I couldn't call up Chris staff.
Maybe they didn't have the stencil with them for school, but they just didn't do them in the traffic. Did all the arrows, did all the other stuff. but-
This actually is a grants and aid program that we did last year. We are receiving $13,000. Our match will be $3,325 on that one. For a total of $16,625. If you guys, did you get this one hard mail? Or is that the one you printed out? You got it?
Hard mail.
Okay, good. So if you guys would like to sign that one.
What's your pleasure, guys? You heard him mention what it was?
Move to sign it.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 This is another grant. This is part of the West Carpenter Hill grant for $17,765. Our match is 44, 41, 25. Our match on these will be in kind. We will do
Use your
our
equipment and stuff.
do our own match. So that one you'll have to sign.
Okay.
Was that both of them in one? We only have one there.
We just passed.
Well, there's one here.
No, yeah, that's that one. There should be one more, Linda. You have two, one for 20,000 and one for,
Wants to sign it.
you only have the one right there.
Yeah, this is 17. Did we sign one already? That was a blacktop though, right?
No, we didn't do the blacktop yet. I haven't received the grant on that. So you gave us the one for 17, we also had this one. We had two of them. One for 20.
Okay, what's your pleasure on the one for
Move to
the
sign it.
$17,765
Second.
culvert replacement? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So they can sign that one too.
I only have to sign this one, but whoops.
Which, was this Carpenter Hill?
Yeah, they're both. There's section 1, section 2.
Yeah, there's only one here. We sent it down to her though. Only one person has signed that one.
I'm seeing this one, I'll have to check the computer.
So sign this one also because it goes, this one's for $20,000. Our match is 5,000 on this one.
Okay.
We received 20, so we have to spend 25 to.
Count, please,
And we do have, we should have the blacktop grant coming. I haven't seen that one
You
yet.
signed it already.
Yeah, that's the one I signed.
man. Yeah, I was just heading it down to her.
That one.
Here's you guys there for this one. Okay, you heard them talk about this one
That
as
one.
well. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further
Back.
discussion? Yeah, we have to probably talk about the end. 20. Yeah, 20,000. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Get the last one back? Oh.
Yeah, I wanna make sure they get handed in so we get the money.
Do you want this one in the
So
folder?
bigger
In the
than-
folder?
Oh, yeah, we have to
on
set
it?
up, sign one, otherwise the money doesn't come down.
Only you had to sign that one though, right?
Yeah. Okay, what else you got good for us?
Okay, the blacktop we're gonna kinda talk about next week. Our bids will be due. Truck bids, we got them in. Clark's
It's-
Truck Center,
That's in your stack, folks, if you look in the stack that he gave you for the road foreman's report, underneath you'll see the truck bids.
Clark was $159,980. We get $1,000 rebate, kind of like they send it to you. Delury was $155,475. Also, we get $1,000 rebate on top of that. They send it to you. Patriot had two of them. One with Viking equipment, 168,077. With Everest equipment was 169,154. Everest was $1,000 higher on the equipment. Your trade-in allowances started at 16,500 for Clark, 20,000 for Delury's, Patriot 18 on both of theirs.
Okay.
They're all right here.
Yep.
If you want to look at them, what's your pleasure, guys?
Have you reviewed all of the,
Requirements.
they all
dollars.
match?
The internationals are the same. We won't get this until next year, January, February.
Because of delivery.
Well, but
Well,
yeah,
let me ask you, now this, we've done this several times. You're buying a truck now, and you're buying the truck with the dump and sanders and plows, so everything, this comes with everything.
yeah, except the wing. Ronnie didn't want the wing.
Yeah, that's right.
So we didn't.
But it comes as whole, because in the past, we go, okay, these, then all of a sudden we turn around and have to buy a sander and a plow. But this is,
No, this is a complete unit,
okay.
a brand new, complete unit. Do you want these actual,
So
these
what's
bids,
your,
the actual bids and specs, or do you want me to keep them?
You can keep them over at the highway. for
yeah,
future
put them in your
reference.
file,
Okay.
then if next year or whenever the next truck is, we'll have something to compare. Basically, what's your pleasure, guys? The low bid was Delury's at 155,475 with $1,000 rebate. The rest, as you heard, was higher. Your call.
Any reason not to go with the least expensive bid?
Are you okay with
No
that?
reason, yeah,
Your
yeah.
your recommendation is?
Well, going with Delury,
I'll
on
make a
that.
motion
They're- quite a bit cheaper.
to go with Dolores.
I second saving money.
Yeah. We'd like to go with the Western Star if you guys want to spend another 10,000.
No,
No, we're okay.
But thanks for the offer.
Any further discussion from the board?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
We will put an order in.
Okay, what's next?
One more thing,
One question on that
yes,
before we do, can we look into, some financing on that? See what we're looking at for interest rate?
yeah. Well, we want to see what we have
Research.
left
Correct.
this year. I
Correct.
did know at one time, plus what we have next year, less the payment on the other truck. The backhoe's paid for, so all we have is the remaining, I think, 4 remaining. I should have brought that with me and I didn't,
Yeah,
on the other truck.
we're financially okay with this. But I think the question goes down, that once we put all that down, what's the real payment gonna be? Should be pretty low.
Are we, you want me to see what it would be to finance the
Yes.
banks again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of remainder. We'll sit down and,
How much
we'll sit down and figure.
it out.
Oh.
Then you're gonna report back to the board, but I know it's, I assume this is gonna be cheaper than the last one. But you gotta
Yeah.
trade in.
Yeah, we have a trade-in, and, yeah.
Last one's 208.
Yeah, that's right, I think this is,
Yeah, unless we didn't get the wing or nothing.
okay. Any other discussion on that? No? And we already voted, so. what
So
else
you
got?
want to order it?
Yeah,
You guys are
we
good to
voted
go.
to do it, yes.
Like I said, it'll be after the new year before it comes in anyhow.
Yeah, hopefully we can get it as quick as we can.
Innovative Surface Solutions, which deal with your calcium chloride and your magnesium chloride.
Yep.
Been thinking actually on trying, most of the towns use magnesium chloride. It's supposed to be less corrosive. Number one, it does about the same job for dust control, and it's cheap. We right now pay 88 cents. I have a quote of 79 on calcium and 75 on magnesium. I just got a load of magnesium to try it.
I was gonna say, try it, then let us
This
know.
fella, if we sign a 3-year contract to stay with them 3 years, they like to do 4,300 gallon loads. He will give us the big tank, and he will also give us the truck unit that slides in the truck and is a spray unit. If we want to back out within the 3 years, we give them the equipment back. There's no extra cost. Also, there's to mix salt with. When you get your salt in, they have a sprayer, so you can mix it and kind of like magic salt type of stuff. Have it all done, so when you take it out in the truck, you're not messing with any of that anymore.
How's it seasonally stored?
The same as calcium, just what we have in the tank, we have in
1,000
the
gallon
tank.
tank, right?
Because it doesn't freeze, you know.
So we have 1,000 gallon tank now?
No, we have about a 2,500. And with that and the gravity feed unit in the truck, we can get about 3,000 gallons. I checked this guy out. Bennington's been using them quite a few years. Manchester's been using them quite a few years. Him and they all got the equipment and everything. They said they haven't had any raises really on the prices, and
And he's dependable on delivery and all that?
yeah, they guarantee delivery within 2 days or 10% off your next load. After 3 years, you own the equipment, and you're no longer under contract for that 3 years. But according to the other towns I talked to, everybody stays with them. They're a lot cheaper on their product. We
So
can
what
get
are you-
a,
So what are you looking for from us?
just to tell you, I guess, that I'm gonna go with the contract. If it sounds good with you guys, the 3-year contract with this product.
Yeah, so what's the total cost for the 3-year contract?
Just what you're buying in calcium.
Yeah, so it's.
They just
what's
want
the
you-
price?
No brainer. 75 cents.
Well,
compared
right
Just
to-
there.
signing you up for, yeah, they're just
Yeah.
signing you up for 3 years, that's all.
They just, you wanna look at that? They
Well,
Pay the
just,
same thing each year.
no, yeah.
Well, what I'm looking at is whether the board needs to approve the purchase of this based on what the
Well,
cost
we're
is for a
not-
3-year contract.
We're not
It's
purchasing
no more
anything,
than a one. All we're paying
It's
for is 1
cheaper.
year at a time.
saving 13 cents a gallon.
But somebody has to sign this that guarantees the town is
Well,
gonna be
he's-
paying a 3-year.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's
He's
what I'm
gonna,
looking
well,
for.
no, he's gonna get me, I just called him today, because I told him when our tanks were empty, I wanted to try, magnesium chloride.
Okay.
Like I say, it's, what was it,
Well, the question-
$340, $50 a
Here's where I'm
load
going with
cheaper.
this. Is the question is that you're gonna sign the 3-year contract and be liable, or should the town sign it?
Well, no, you guys can sign it, I don't care.
Well, that's where I'm
Yeah.
after. Is so that the
Oh,
town
yeah.
approves. The town
Well-
approves it and then signs it, and the town's liable for the 3-year.
Oh, yeah, I don't wanna be
That's
liable.
why I'm,
Well, you can use it for agricultural use too, so it doesn't matter to me.
no, so that's why I asked the question of what was being signed. Just so
Yeah,
that
well,
everyone's the same
no, I
page.
actually, he'll have me a contract next week. I think, when we come and do the blacktop, I'll give it to you and you guys
sign
can,
it.
yeah, yeah, look at
'Cause I
it.
don't
No,
think
it's always good to
I'm
look
with you.
over.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, we do it, I just wanna make sure that the process is legal, so the right person is held liable.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it does, it sounds like a heck of a deal, you wonder, but the guy said we just want your business.
Yep. What else you got?
We got the gravel pit purchase, excuse me, which we want to do contractual later.
Yeah, we're gonna do that in executive session, we'll talk about that. Anything else?
No, I think we're pretty good.
We're at
Unless,
the end of the list.
huh?
Hey,
I
hey.
think we're at the end of the list on yours.
Yeah, unless,
Well,
You
let me
guys-
ask the one question that Linda reported on, and that was to do with the cost of going up on one of the items due to OT. Now, I assume the OT this year being so high was because of the type winter we had?
yes,
It went on, didn't know enough
Yes.
to stop?
yeah, we're not the only ones, the state, all the other towns around, we're not alone. But
Yeah.
that's why the OT, we worked every weekend well, we worked Christmas Day, but we hit every weekend we had a storm, so we worked 7 days a week pretty much, right in through March.
Yeah, I just want people out there to understand, when
Yeah.
we say OT, the OT is being spent to make sure that the roads are safe.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on. Website, newsletter.
Does anyone have anything for the website that needs to be updated? And I think Jen would like to come in and just see us next week and just check in.
Okay, that sounds reasonable, and Bob put something in our packet for us to review as a policy for websites, which we can look at for next week too, at the same time.
Yeah, so it's not for any action or discussion tonight, just if people could look it over and maybe we can give the new town administrator a leg up on what we want for a policy. I did also want to bring up the
These are in
newsletter.
there. If you want me to
Yep.
sign
I
them,
think we're done with
don't
websites.
forget
Let's go
to
to
send one
newsletter.
of them, because one's no good without the other.
Go ahead.
Okay, just the,
Review it all tomorrow.
if we can on the, I did notice, thank you for putting the flag challenge in. It was missing the last line. I think the last line of that flag challenge was let's line the streets in support of this great country. Seemed like a nice line.
Oh, we can- that's easy.
Can we put that in?
Sure. And and you're saying that Craig is okay with you putting that in? 'Cause he asked me not to, so he asked you to put it in, so, and you showed it.
Asked
him
you
what-
not to put the last line in?
No, he asked me not to put the whole notice in.
Oh, he did tell me to put the notice in.
Okay, I was gonna say, even if someone out there didn't want to put it in, from what I read, the board itself can put such a thing in, requesting people to basically honor July 4th. That's what we're asking, put up a flag.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a nice challenge. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is it does look to me like, I just want to be consistent about it. I know we took the business profiles out, but it looks to me like some of the events are advertisements for private businesses. And I think we ought to be careful of that. What is the criteria?
Well, I think we can, I don't have any trouble with announcing events that somebody's holding. I think it gets into when you begin to talk about or show, you're showing product and discussing what's on sale that period, then you're doing advertisement. But if you're talking somebody's holding something, I don't see a problem with that.
It's something that's being sold. It's a $300 workshop.
Oh, so they're
Yeah,
asking
so,
for people, okay.
yes, I mean, and I just want
It's
to
a
be fair,
marketing
because
tool.
we took the
Yeah,
business
marketing
profiles
tools,
out.
marketing, we're not marketing companies. That's not our job.
So, and I don't want to call it out, because I don't want to think,
You
anybody
need to,
thinking
if I'm gonna remove it, I need to know exactly what you're talking about.
Is there anything, this newsletter? that's
It
going-
is, and it was in last week's newsletter as well.
And it is?
Well, it's the pottery workshop.
Okay.
So
and
the whole board wants to remove the pottery workshop
If it's an
event?
advertisement for a business that's saying come and pay X, yes, that needs to be removed.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the whole board, that's my opinion. I think that we're not here for profit type companies to be their marketing tool. I think it's the simplest way to say it.
Is that the only one?
That was the only one I saw this week, but there was two last week.
All right,
But think of it in that way, if we're marketing if they're marketing something and we're trying to advertise for their marketing, then no, but if they're talking about an event that says they're gonna have an event at this time, at this place, I think that's fine. It's when you get, an open house, something of that, it's when you begin to list all of what they're doing and what you could pay or buy or do, your marketing.
So, in light of
But they could have a link to your business page. for
yeah,
that.
no, we have the link on there. But in light of having received long documents every week with track changes on them from Bob, and this policy now that Bob has suggested without saying proposed policy, I am going to officially resign from doing the newsletter. I am going to start my own newsletter with Discover Pownal. I will include businesses on it. If you'd like to sign up for it, you can go to the pownalbusinessnetwork.com and sign up. And I'll continue putting out, stuff that's going on in town with people's babies, etc. And I'll just put up what's happened on the board but it will be my newsletter that I'm paying for with my own website. So whoever wants to take up the town newsletter, please go ahead and volunteer.
Okay.
Well, and that mine wasn't any criticism. The only reason it was long was because it was the entire newsletter, and my edits were very small.
Yes,
I'm not
it doesn't
gonna-
matter.
I don't wanna get into the
I don't want
debate
another
of-
half-hour conversation about
Yeah.
newsletters. I'm tired
Yeah.
of talking about them.
No,
So,
and I think that's fine, and
yeah.
I think, if
and
you
I just
wouldn't-
don't need to receive
if
any
you
more
wouldn't,
track changes like that. So
If you wouldn't
I'm
mind, you
interested.
can let Holly know that basically, put a link in for the short term that says go here for these, just so people are gonna look for that newsletter, and if they need it, they can find a place to go
I'll
look.
still publish the last one today. I'll remove the pottery workshop. I'll add the last line that you asked for in the flag workshop. But as of next week, someone else needs to volunteer to do this. It's a volunteer time effort, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do it anymore.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Anything else on newsletter?
No.
Okay, moving on. Town plan final steps.
Are we in agreement that we can send this off to the BCRC for the regional approval?
Yes.
Are we okay with?
I'll get a motion from the board. to do this.
Motion to do it.
You need a second?
Can a member of the public
Yeah, just a
take a look
minute.
at that?
I get a second?
Wait a minute, I
Well-
missed because I got distracted, sorry.
Motion to send.
This has been on our website, if I'm correct.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion.
Can I have a look?
Sure. And it's,
I know there
is it-
were some changes that just got re-changed.
Oh, the latest one has been on the website for a while.
I was gonna say, this is-
last
There's a change that
changes.
occurred tonight, right?
No.
There are no changes
No, there's
from
no
tonight.
changes that occurred tonight. That's been, what's on there is what's on the website.
But when the board accepted the town plan, there was some changes that were going to occur. And
There was some
They- they
discussion on
occur.
acknowledgement,
Is that the
of
piece?
people,
The acknowledgement.
of people that had input in the.
Did those changes occur?
No,
They didn't.
they did not. It was discussed there earlier, basically, the thought was that we might miss somebody, so it's better to do a generalized statement, and you'll see it in there. Okay?
Let me have a look.
And that's the only thing that I'm aware of that actually got changed on it. There were some things with the mapping and other things that he did that we, as a board, approved, and I haven't even, I did not read it in the details, I've read them in the past.
The only changes since it was posted were little, I think there were little typos caught, but
Jenny, what was it that you did on the town plan specifically?
what did I do
She's a selectman.
on the town plan?
She's a
Yes.
selectman.
I
That's
read
what-
it 14 times.
But she's a selectman,
So it mentions
yeah. Yes, all selectmen were listed.
I'm on the select
All
board.
planning boards were listed,
past and present.
past and present. Are you on there? Are you on the planning board?
I am. I'm not on here.
Then we'll get your name on there.
Michelle Peckrell is not on here.
She on the planning board?
She is.
Yeah, then she should be there too.
I was CC'd an email, I don't know, a couple weeks back. And I gave a list of every member, because we've been working on the plan for the 5 last years.
Yep.
I submitted a list, I emailed everyone back, I got a response from Jenny. I sent it to Michael Batcher that Linda isn't mentioned, and she's done a lot of work with the town plan. I had gone back through the last 5 years and wrote down all the selectmen that were there. So you got like Steve, Popey, Mike George, Rich Ryder. I went back and I submitted that list
To Mike?
to Mike and to Jen, because Jenny
Well, I
responded
never
back
got
to
the
me.
list, actually. But
I had sent the list to everybody that should have been mentioned. Because like Linda's done a lot of work with the town plan in the last 5 years. And I labeled all the planning members, all the, the selectmen, past and present, and
Send it to me. I'll
Okay.
send it to him. We can make that correction.
What our BCRC delegate did some work on this plan.
Who? The DRB?
Our BCRC delegate.
Yeah, well, the BCRC is recognized.
Is our delegate recognized?
BCRs in general did their recognition, if I remember correctly, because they worked on it. I'm not trying to make a list with every single member that ever said a word about the town plan, because what'll happen is we will definitely miss somebody, and what'll happen is what's happening tonight. And it should be more generalized, so
Well,
everybody is
if I
right.
hadn't brought this up, there was a few people, Barbara True Weber as well needs to be on there. She's on the planning commission.
Yeah, anybody that's on the planning commission should be on
Should
it.
be on here.
I will-
If I hadn't mentioned this, it would have.
It would've been
It was
missed.
gone.
No, because
I'm not finding fault with the fact you brought that up. That's fine. And I thought they were all there. I haven't, like I said, I haven't looked at what's there. I know what I sent to him to make sure I was answering him on the general question, not on the members, because I assumed that he got the members from the people that would know, not me.
I will send you the list.
Yeah,
of
send it to me and I can
all
send it
things.
to him and we'll get it.
It sounds like the 3 people from the planning commission that weren't on, that didn't make it on, are the ones who just joined. Maybe, so that's how it was.
Maybe
the
that's
list.
why he did put, but they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And they're gonna be working on
We're
it
still
coming
doing
out,
it.
coming
It isn't
forward.
done
Yeah, yeah.
yet.
But I don't think it was a deliberate
No.
leaving the
No, I
3
don't.
new
No,
planning
I
commission
just-
members off.
I just know that
But, okay, so basically,
things are supposed to happen that don't happen. And then things get reversed. You know, like what happened tonight. I guess it was a letter from a concerned citizen that didn't get read
what, related to what?
to the acknowledgements page.
No, well, no, there was a whole bunch. I don't remember seeing that letter. I've
I
got all
thought
of it.
that's what I heard when
There is one.
you introduced the
So when I got here.
topic.
The letter was about the acknowledgement.
That's right.
We didn't have, there was no letter about, with all the names.
Oh. Yeah, because there is no letter with a list of names.
That'll be available if I want to look at that.
Yeah. Okay. You'll send it to me, I'll send it to Mike Bratcher and make sure it gets in.
You know, if you went with a general statement, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Right.
I have no
saying.
trouble, I have no trouble with that either. It's just, how do we recognize people that serve on boards, who volunteer their time, not to come in and give us one statement or read off a letter to us about making a change, to people who put year in after year in trying to make this happen. And lots of times, we forget about those people, and what happens? Next time it comes around for an appointment, they thank you very much for serving, but they're gone.
Well, yeah, you got a list now, and if things go really bad with that plan, people will know who to blame.
Yeah.
So you put all the names on there. Who touched it?
You're on there.
Okay. I'll own my part of it.
No, that's fine. I don't have any trouble with it. My name's been on many of those. I've been blamed for a lot. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give Mike this list so he can update and correct these things that Julie's gonna provide me. With that done, is the board in favor of telling Mike to move forward with this?
Yes, I motion for him to
Well, we
move
had a
forward.
motion and a second. I just wanna make sure there's no more discussion.
Oh.
And it'll be amended
Well-
with that change.
I just want to add, what will happen after this is when Mike makes these edits that you're requesting right now, then I will send this off to Staples to be bound. Okay, because we have to distribute one of those copies to BCRC and the rest of them stay here for our boards and us. So
Okay.
before I go to have a print, it has to be
Double check.
understood that whatever names, edits Michael is making is
Final.
it.
Final.
So we'll rely on Julie to provide all the names that are necessary to be in there.
And that's still without the enhanced energy section.
Yes, that's gonna
And
come
that's-
again.
There's an understanding that
Yeah,
the current energy section in that plan is really
Changing.
not, it's not,
it's changing.
yeah, okay.
It'll ever change. There'll be more sections that'll change, but they're working on the energy one at the moment, which is an amendment to the plan, which we'll go through this whole process again. So,
Yay.
and hopefully we won't forget to recognize somebody. Okay, so we're gonna rely on you, Julie. Okay. Whoever named you feel should be on there. Okay, with that said, and amended for that, Julie will provide the names and they'll be put in. Get a motion to amend in second, right? You guys gonna,
Same motion
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Moving on. Large gathering ordinance. Okay, we're back to this, large gathering ordinance. That's when I went looking, we've been talking about since 2006. 2016, I should say, not 6. I'm sure we were talking about it back then, but not, we didn't have anything written back then.
Right.
But this has been written up since 2016. There has been some changes made. What's our next step here with this, Linda?
Everybody agreed to adopt it,
I have a few proposed,
or else we're changing it.
well, I have a few proposed changes.
Okay,
One is, I'm not sure, I mean, I have questions and change, but I'm unclear why anything that's sponsored by the town or promoted by the town is exempt from the ordinance. I mean, because you can put your name on it without actually being anything, having anything to do with it. So I'm a little concerned about that 2-3. I would really, I'm unclear why the application fee is non-refundable. And I'm unclear why the application fee is what, I still don't understand what it's to go to. So I'm not sure why we're charging. I would prefer to see it, I mean, I think it's good to have an ordinance and people claim that, you know, say they're having the gatherings and that we know about it and we say okay and make sure that all the licensing's being followed, but I don't see why the town should make any money on these events.
it's what we would pay the sheriff to review the application. And if it's less than that, then that's what we have to.
So I would propose that the sheriff has a specific amount that he or she charges and that they pay that directly to the sheriff rather than a random amount that may or not be what they charge and then it's
But they
non-refundable.
charge us an hourly rate.
Mhm.
And I think
Some will
there's-
take you an hour,
there's-
some
I
will
think-
take you 10.
That's right,
So
I think
then-
there's a minimum, I don't think they come in for 1 hour, I think.
So
there's
then I
a-
would propose that they pay that directly, the sheriff invoices whoever's gonna have the event.
But then
for
that
the
would be
time.
the sheriff's ordinance, it wouldn't be the town's.
Our contract was specifically with the town and the sheriff.
This is a town ordinance, it's not anyone else's. The state has their own ordinance as well for large assemblies. The question always keeps coming up on cost. I remember when I first wrote this, I had $50. And then I was brought up with the fact that it wouldn't cover the cost of the town for what it is. And basically, it slowly raised to what it is now at $250. And I think it was because we were looking at 10 hours and it's like 20 some odd dollars an hour we were paying back then, paying the sheriff. And basically, that's why we came where we came. Now, I don't, I assume whoever holds this is gonna have to end up paying the sheriff or someone else for police services anyways. Because it says in here who's providing that type of services. What we're doing here is asking what the town should cover for its costs. If you don't think the town should have any costs, pay for it all itself, in other words, we pay for it. Whatever it is to have the sheriff review the applicant and do the things, then that's what it would be, it'd be zero. And we pay it out of whatever the general fund allocated for that would be. If you have a lot of them a year, it could be substantial. If you only have 1 or 2 a year, it's probably, you know, you're talking a few $100.
I'd say that if these are money-making events, and it actually does add to our tax base, so it's not a one-for-one. The second thing is, when we brought this up last time, I
Tell
thought
me how
everything.
tell me how it adds to our tax base. Got my ears.
I'm not sure. But let's. But we
What
say
I find-
we want to be able to. I mean, some of these things are businesses and some are not, right? Somebody's having a wedding. It might add business to local businesses who are contracting for that. But then you're also they're also deciding where to have that and whether to have that. So it's going to impact things like turkey shoots and weddings and things like that more than it's going to impact a Lollapalooza or something where it's a drop in the bucket. And it could be the make or break. And I thought last time we spoke about this, one of the things that was on the table was how much. We were looking for feedback,
That's
we were
right.
looking
we
for
were looking
input.
for it. Yep.
Um,
I didn't get any.
it seems like a lot. Well, it wasn't on the agenda for a while, right? So we spoke.
Well, we
we had
asked
people.
them.
We had people come in and were not happy with it.
Well,
So
we
that
asked.
was feedback.
But we asked, what did they think the right price was? Got people here, what do you think the right price is for a permit for such
Well,
things?
let me ask this question. Last year I did a show, didn't cost the town anything because there was nothing that had to be done. All my permits went through the state. So I'm not sure why there's a fee or even have to do this. If you wanna know what we're doing, we'll easily come in like we did last year and say, this is what we're doing in the show. We could put it out there and advertise it, so everybody will see it. There was nothing that the town had to do back then.
Somebody had to tell you to come in here to present that to the board, and it normally would have been a permit process or an ordinance. You came to me, I had said, well, let's go to the board, but ask them because of the problems we have. By having an ordinance, people will always ask the board. By not having an ordinance, some people are just gonna hold an activity and we're gonna find out after the fact. So I think that an ordinance is a good thing. The piece that I keep coming back to, why should we charge? Or if we do, it should be a very minimal amount.
How many people, what's the limit? on it?
350.
So most, like Bob said, weddings and stuff, none of them are really gonna be,
I think originally we came up with a number, the 350. This all came about with the last proposal for the big concert, that be like a whole day rock concert at the, and those were $100 per person tickets at the racetrack. That's when this all came to light, I remember. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you when it came to light. When Lollapalooza was here and left garbage
Right.
from one end of the town to the other and made a mess of things, and if people can say you made taxes off of that, I know Jimmy closed because he didn't want that many people coming in and out of his place. There's a problem, what you have to look at is, and we had people holler all over about parking on their lawns and parking everywhere.
Wasn't that
And-
huge though? I mean, that would have been way more than 350 people.
It was 30,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole
Back
other,
in the
that's a
90s.
whole
But
other.
what I'm saying is, if you have no ordinance whatsoever, you won't know that that's happening.
Right, I'm not proposing no ordinance, I'm
but
proposing,
350 people, that's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
What do you have with over 300 unless you have a big event that people are gonna make money in?
right.
You know what I
I mean,
mean?
do you foresee
think
having that many people at an event?
I'd like to see that more people, absolutely.
But
I mean,
more than
the
three?
more come into town, the more
Right.
things get.
What if, say,
spent.
John's holding a turkey shoot, an all-day event? People come, people go. Does that cumulative number count towards the 350, or is it
That's a
like
good point.
yeah, and is there someone with a counter? I mean, that's a good
I would
question.
say at one time, how many people?
all at once?
Well, the
Sure.
person that fills out the permit is gonna say how many people are coming to that event. If you think you're gonna have 350 people, then you come in and you fill out an ordinance. If you're not gonna have 350 people, you don't come.
So you don't even need an ordinance for less than 350?
Yeah, less than 350, you're doing your little, a wedding or something in your backyard, or, you know, maybe you got a big cookout. I mean, what's his name used to have one on the back road below me, I could hear all the music and stuff. And I know he had a couple hundred people there, but nobody was complaining about it.
So what about like the July 4th that's gonna be at the Legion? And how do you predict how many people are gonna be there?
Well, from the person that was here that served, worked, that was on the board that worked there, said that 300 was the magic number for him
Right.
because of what they could hold.
That's right.
So we said 350, that gives them 50 more than what they can hold.
That's right.
Well, what if we shoot for, okay, I'm not gonna have more than 350 and 400 show up? I didn't expect 400 to show up, but it does
No,
add
are
up.
we gonna sit out there and have a counter? No.
Yeah, nobody's gonna,
It's,
I
yeah,
don't think anybody's gonna bother you.
I'm just, Bob said something about weddings and stuff. Isn't this ordinance for more like things people are charging for? So if you're doing an event, a wedding is an event, but it's not a money-making event.
It-
I think.
Right, but it doesn't.
It doesn't
but it doesn't
specify that.
Right, I'm,
Well, maybe it should.
That's
That's a
maybe
good-
that's
that's a good-
a clause that needs to be in there is what I'm going with. If you're having an event that you're charging a substantial or whatever amount for, it's different than having a wedding or something you're not charging for.
What about
And-
charging a percentage of, if there's an event charge, charging a percentage of the event fee?
Well, originally we looked at it, some of those towns
And that can reimburse for
the
the-
Berkshires They had $1 a person on their,
Yeah, they got
on
the
their-
gate.
at their large, or the symphony, Boston Symphony.
And they took
place down there.
they had
It
to
was
pay $1 to
at
get
the
in.
time. It was
Everybody
the
comes
town
through.
gets $1 out of every ticket.
And it
Oh, for
does, and they
tickets.
don't have a magic number. They just collect $1 for everybody that comes through a door. That to me is, I'm not worried about making the money. I'm more worried about people parking on people's property, leaving garbage behind, or destroying things in our town, and we have no idea who it is or who to go after.
Yeah.
This states that they have to put something up that makes their insurance and so forth liable. So we have a way of going after someone, just like we just give the permit for these trucks to drive through our town.
I agree with
And
having.
that's a
but
$10
I agree with
fee,
having an
but it's a
ordinance.
fee
Right.
for liability.
But we have to
We're
pay-
actually on the same side here, Bob, I think.
Well, that's 2
But we
weeks in
do
a row.
have to
No.
pay to enforce the ordinance, is the problem.
Yes, you will. You're gonna have to hire a lawyer.
Two
We're
for
gonna have to pay to
$797.
enforce an ordinance if there is a problem.
And
Again, I'm sorry?
You will have to pay to enforce the ordinance if there is a problem.
If somebody does
There may
something.
never be a problem, but if there is a problem and things go haywire and they rip up your property, the town property, and you've charged nothing, then you have nothing to fall back
How about
on.
a security deposit that gets returned after the event?
Well, it basically on here, it tells you that they have to give a liability and they give us an insurance. So we'd go after the insurance versus security, versus them coming up and saying, okay, we're gonna have this many people, here's $10,000 because we've got 300,000 people, whatever. I think the key is that you have, just like you do with the trucks, we have a liability insurance policy. If they do something to our bridges or so forth, we go after their insurance. I think that's what we're doing here, and from what I'm hearing, I think nobody's against the ordinance that I've heard,
No.
unless somebody out there is. And basically, what I've heard is, it keeps coming back to, why do we charge?
Yeah.
And why is it non-refundable?
Yeah.
Because.
And there's the
yeah.
third question of, it's the total count, and really it should be, is it 350 at one time, or is it throughout the day? If it's an all-day-long event, you never have more than 50, but the
Well, there's-
final
and
count
there's
becomes
no way of
400.
keeping
There's no way of
track
keeping
of that.
track of
Is
that.
there a way to like make it refundable up to a certain amount of days before the event?
Yeah.
If you're looking at the weather forecast and you're gonna be rained out with a flood or something like that, you know, why be out the money? If you know that far in advance, or hurricane's coming up the coast or something like that, you cancel your event,
I
get
mean,
your money back.
so my feeling is this happens so infrequently. I don't think we've had very many events in the past, 10 since I've been here that have been
You have a car,
over this
you have a
many
car
people.
show every year,
right, but that's not 350,
or pretty
is it?
much. So,
it get to be that?
I don't think it's been 350.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specifically.
But it could
this
grow
number
to that if it
350.
becomes like Bennington's was.
Could.
You're looking at not just what's happening today, but what's the possibility of things happening in the future. You're covering yourself for something you don't know about. That's really what you're doing with an ordinance. Somebody could magically come in the door one day and say, hey, here's what I want to do in your town. I own
I think
X
the,
amount of acres and I'm
I'm
gonna
all
have
for an
500.
ordinance.
Yeah, that's,
Plus.
I don't think anybody's saying no
All for an
ordinance.
ordinance.
It's the $250 fee or why not just charge who's ever holding the event for whatever that cost was, instead of, because some events will go off without a hitch, there won't be a call, there won't be a cost. Other events it's gonna be more than 250 because, I guess you used the example, they were doing burnouts in the street or parking on somebody's lawn or whatever.
Yeah, but then again, I think that's where you end up
And they're
with-
already liable, right? They're already liable in another section.
Yeah, because you made them show their insurance that they have coverage for this. So I think you have something that will pay for damages, but you gotta hire a
We have
lawyer
liability.
to go after that or something, you know. It's not the town that's gonna do that. So there's a fee there that's involved between the sheriff issuing tickets for a violation or, you know, end up taking it to court. And really what you're looking at is if you feel good about it and everything's gonna be wonderful, then we don't need to charge anything. Everybody's
I'm-
gonna come and hold
Well,
a
but to Jenny's
perfect
point,
thing.
Well, then
what
I'm back
about
to a
the,
security deposit. The
exactly,
security
the deposit,
deposit
that was
would
a good
pay
idea.
for the lawyer fees. You
So
can
what
even
do-
make it
so what-
higher.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, 250 won't cover that.
No,
So
well,
what-
no, it wouldn't,
So
so,
are you trying to tell people gotta come up with more money, to get this permit, and then you're gonna give it back to them?
right.
But they gotta give it up front. What's that
I'm not
magic number?
necessarily saying more, but if we're only charging 250, I say we charge a 250 security deposit, and they get it back. I mean, or is it, we're trying to make a
Can I ask
bank
a
for
question?
when something does happen, if it
No, because
happens?
it won't be in a fund.
When somebody files a permit for the town, they have to pay a fee for a permit to come to the DRB. If the DRB denies it and Nelson denies it as a zoning administrator, the people don't get their money back.
They don't get it back.
And if they wanna do it again, they file for the fee again.
So you're fighting for the fee?
Yes, because it's the same way. Well, every business should have a permit when a business comes into the town. Every business should have a permit, which I can tell you, there's a lot that don't have permits. However, you pay $200 for an appeal. You come to the board, you can appeal the decision. If it's not what you want to hear, you still don't get your $200 back. So there should be a fee to cover.
Some of the expense. It's not gonna cover all of it. You have to do, most of the time, hopefully the town has to do nothing. Everything goes well, it's perfect, and those people are upset because they're gonna have to pay a fee. But there are those occasions when it will cost you, and it will cost you more than $250, I'll guarantee you.
And the point I want to make is just, it's an economic fact that over time, you will have fewer of these 350 or more gatherings with the fee than without it. Over time, that's a true statement. Not everybody, for some, it's a drop in the bucket. A Wallapalooza is with thousands of people. They're not going to sneeze at this, but a turkey
Well, that's
shoot is
irrelevant,
going to
'cause
take a
there's a
look at it.
Turkey
$2,000
shoot's gonna look
person
at this,
that's,
what's going on currently with our
state.
car show, if they're gonna have 350 people would look at this because they do it as like a nonprofit. They're not making any money on this thing. They're doing it for the convenience of the people that come to a show or do something. And I understand that. So the question that I'm getting to and what I'm hearing here is, do you want them to pay something, then you refund it, or do you want no fee at all? Because it sounds to me, even those people that you're talking about that come in at 250, even if you refund it, they first have to come up with that money. And you're saying that's a lot of money to people to come up and get a permit. And if that's the case, if you charge it up front, they're not gonna come because they can't even afford it, even if you're gonna refund it, is what I'm hearing.
I guess the only problem I have really with it is not so much an ordinance, because I don't mind coming in saying, hey, this is what we got. I guess the bigger problem is that the first part, what I heard is it's for paying sheriffs, and then when you talk more into it, it's for all of our administrative, it's for this, it's for that. It's just like it's getting spread out, when it was only initially said for
The sheriff to
sheriff's
review it,
fees.
yeah.
Only because it says in the policy that the sheriff is responsible for enforcement. Where it didn't originally, I don't believe.
There's always gonna,
It wasn't clear.
I
anything.
like that though, that's what I was saying, because I went
Anything
up
legal,
and I
any-
paid sheriffs to be there on my property.
That's
There's-
right.
Nobody's off my property, everybody that came on the property. I park on my property, so there was nothing that
But what
sheriffs
you pay,
wanted to do.
what you pay for the sheriff is to protect you and cover you.
Mhm.
What we pay for the sheriff is to protect the town and the town functions.
Mhm.
That's what our cost is to the sheriff. And if it goes to court and we have to hire a lawyer, that's the town's fees too, it's not yours.
Well, what
and
I
what-
paid,
what
what I
I
paid
wanna
the sheriffs
say-
to do was watch the road.
Well, yeah, but we,
Not my road, they watched Jackson Cross Road
we,
and made
we,
sure that
we
they
pay them
were
to
out
make
there.
sure that this permit is functioning and that people are performing what the permit they filled out did correctly. That's why we had Chad look at it.
Mhm.
The real thing is it enforceable by him? He made some changes, so it would be. And basically that means if he came and you said you were having 400 people and all of a sudden you saw 5,000 people there, you're in violation of your permit. And he could tell you that, and then you can, in that case, if you had 5,000, be state involved too. But the bottom line is that that's what we're paying for. We're making sure things are done as they're said they're done. And if they aren't, and if we have to take legal action because some damage is done to something that you had no control over, somebody that came to your place, we have to make sure that we cover that too.
But this isn't gonna cover that, so.
And it will. But they have the liability insurance in here, it will.
Oh, the ordinance will cover it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not against the ordinance at all. I think
Yeah.
I think it's good to
It's
have an
not the
ordinance.
$250 it's gonna
It's,
cover that.
no, that's what I'm talking. I'm only talking about the limit of people, which is the 350, and the $250 fee. I'm not talking about the ordinance. I think we need to have an ordinance. I think it's great to have an ordinance. I don't think anyone has a problem filling out and doing an ordinance.
I think there's
You know,
actually people out there
would
that
it-
want us to have an ordinance because they've asked for it.
We do want I want an ordinance also. I think we need an ordinance. I'm talking about the numbers. That's it. And I wonder that, I mean, I have had feedback from it. So I've had conversations with people about it, which is why I wanted to discuss it again. Because,
No, that's fine.
and, you know, I want to represent the people who did take the time
And
to
what,
come
and
and
what
talk
was
to me
their
about it.
concerns?
The $250, and also, I wonder if we raise the 350 people to 500, if that would make people more comfortable. And then I would suggest, instead of a non-refundable fee, to do a security deposit, and whatever the sheriff has to be paid to go over it comes out of that security deposit, and they get the rest of it back. And that I do think, and then we have a time limit. When I do a security deposit on my business, I have a strict time schedule. If they, if they cancel 60 days out, they get their whole security back. If it's less than 60 days, they get half their security. If it's less than 30 days, they get half the entire. I keep half the entire deposit, and they get. And then if it's less than 15, they pay me in full.
Well, we're
So if we
asking,
had that kind of a schedule.
well, we're asking for 30 days notice here. So what would be your timetable if somebody comes in with a 30-day, gave you a permit, and you got 30 days to make a decision, the select board does?
So 30, but then we say to give a longer, come in and do your ordinance early. If you're arranging an event for over 500 people, 30 days is not enough time to arrange it. So if someone came in and said, I'm doing an event in 20 days, I'd say, no, you're not. I'm an event planner by trade. I'd be like, who's running your event? You? No. 20 days is not enough to put together a 500-person event. So I would think that any large event like this, there would be a lot more time put into it, a lot more planning, and the ordinance, we would say you have to come in 3 months prior. And then if you cancel 30 days prior, then you get your security deposit back.
Okay. Yeah, I understand where people plan for their things. Lots of times they don't come in for a permit for most of these things in any town until they're closer to their actual, they put together all the planning, they know what they want, they've got all that stuff done. They're not gonna plan with us, they're gonna do the planning, they're gonna come to us and say, okay, I'm ready to have a permit, so I can open this, here's what I planned, and here's what I'm gonna do.
Well, then they're out of luck because they came too late. They need to be
I think I'd
alerted
like
that
to
they have to
feel
come in
how the
longer.
town thinks about my idea before I go through all the work and get it to within 30 days.
Yeah.
And find out at that time the town is really not too keen on the idea, or the infrastructure can't really handle it in that area or whatever, so.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
And we
for the
make it
state.
the first thing on the checklist. If you're going to have a large event, the first thing on your checklist is to come to select board with your and get your ordinance, and then follow through with your planning.
Yeah, I don't know what the
And it's
timetable is for the state.
it's risk-free planning. Then you can start thinking about a project 6 months from now. You come and get your ordinance. You have 6 months to work on it, and it's risk-free because you know you're going to get your money back if it falls through 30 days prior. And we don't have to have the ordinance reviewed by the sheriff 6 months out if we have a 30-day clause in here. So the sheriff will review it 30 days out, and if the event is not canceled before 30 days, then they forfeit their security deposit. But if they know, but generally a large event like this would know if you're rained out, you have a rain date. I mean, that's a risk you take with an big outdoor event. Or you have umbrellas and you have your outdoor event. I've done outdoor events in the rain.
Just for the board's information, it's 45 days for a state permit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the
It's
state
45 days in advance of it, and it's 2,000 people or you don't need a state permit, and they charge 125.
For the state.
That's what they do.
permit? And that's 2,000
So let's,
people.
so,
This
yeah,
last one that we did, I was gonna put in for it, I sent up for it because I didn't know how many I was gonna have.
right.
I just submitted it. I didn't have 2,000 people, they sent me back 125.
So, I mean, the state is big enough that $125 for each event is gonna make significant amount of slush fund for them to deal with problems like
And the only
that. But-
concern, it goes through the state police is what it goes
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
That's what-
But the only concern was because they wanna step up police if there's gonna be more than 2,000 people. That's all there was.
But would
their
you be
only concern.
comfortable, if you're planning an event, I know you're not doing it 30 days out, you're doing it
No,
way ahead.
everything's further out.
So you would have no problem coming in and signing and filling out an ordinance and bringing it in 90 days out?
Well, I do the same as the state, 45 days. I think,
45 is more than enough. I think.
I
So
would-
then what's
get
our time frame
information.
for it being refundable?
usually by the time they're coming in, like he said, at the 45-day level, you knew within 15 days, but you knew if the event didn't pan out the way it is, you're gonna refund it anyways. That's what we did. And who knows, we could put down that we fund it anyways, even if it's proper. I'm not worried so much about the money, I'm just telling you where we're gonna spend money. What I'm worried about is getting an ordinance passed and in place, so you make sure everybody comes in and asks, so you know where your parking problems are gonna be. The road foreman knows where you might wanna put up some temporary no parking signs.
Sure.
There's things that we need to do and be prepared, and that's what the ordinance is for. We're not here to make money. If we were, we wouldn't be charging $250,
So I
we'd be charging $2,000.
propose an ordinance without the fee, or with a refundable fee.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's-
whichever, like, I mean, I'd like,
Yeah, so-
you know, I'd like to hear what other people think.
Yeah, I guess where
that's
I
what
would do is, I have no trouble with it saying it's refundable. The thing in this ordinance is you do have fines if people do not come in
Yeah,
and hold it. I think the fine should still be there,
absolutely.
and that basically, that's where I see, because you can prosecute somebody if they don't come get the ordinance. But as far as the $250, what you would just say is that refundable after 30 days after the event. Because then by then we'll know if there's been any problem or something's occurred where we have to spend money.
Oh, so you're saying refund it after the event, minus the amount that's paid to the sheriff for reviewing the ordinance?
For any cost that might forefall the town. That's basically what you're gonna look at, because what you're looking at is, did they drive somewhere and destroy a culvert because they
No, I
drove into
understand.
it? So
And I
you're
mean,
looking
I
at, it's all
understand
refundable,
Yeah.
every bit of it, if there's nothing that's cost the town. If it is, then basically we're gonna subtract that amount.
That seems reasonable. Well, we also had some other discussions too, right? So it was how much we're gonna charge, how many people does it apply to? Do we apply to both public and for-profit? I mean, private and for-profit? So does a wedding get the same as as something you're charging for? And maybe you do, maybe you don't.
I think so. I mean, I don't
Sorry,
think we're gonna have,
something
I don't
Ellen
think we
brought
have
up.
many 350+ weddings in town, but,
Oh, that's true.
No,
Mine was about
but I
one-tenth
think,
of that.
but I think that, but if you're gonna have a 350-person wedding, they're the most misbehaved. Are you kidding me?
I was
can't
gonna
keep
say,
track.
Maybe that was a bad,
still have to have
maybe
an
that was a bad
ordinance.
example. I mean, we do have some large family reunions. Maybe 350 is bigger than a family reunion too.
So then they have to carry
And then-
liability insurance?
And then do we do a deposit?
Yeah. Yeah, well, again, it's going out,
I think we ought to follow the state standard.
yeah.
That seems
45 days, charge them $100, and then we turn around and I don't see any refunding on that because it's going to cost us $100 to start with.
Just a
They got to have it. But what we want them to come in for, as far as I'm concerned, is we want to tell them, look, you got to have facilities for these people. You got to have maybe rescue squad there. It depends what your event is. Maybe you need a fire department. I don't know what you're going to need. Depends what they're doing. But you'll need somebody, and they're responsible for that, not the town.
Yeah, and that's in
The
here.
event holder is responsible for that.
Yep.
So then, and I'm thinking anybody, if they are going to have an event, you know, I think that's fair. But
So you're saying it should be $100,
yeah.
what did you say, Mr.?
non-refundable. So in other words, change the
$100, it's gonna
250.
cost $100 for us to talk about this thing again. If somebody comes in, or, you know,
It is,
it
you're gonna
does.
pay people by the hour.
Yeah.
You pay people
sheriff's
in here
gonna
by
get
the
3
hour to
hours,
do the
and then
paperwork,
Yeah.
the sheriff's
do
by the
inspection.
hour.
I mean, all that is just, and we're trying to give we're trying to serve the people, that's all. I mean, the people wanna have something, I'm all for them having something.
Okay,
But we
so,
also gotta lay out what we require. You gotta have facilities, you gotta have,
yeah, that's in here.
But
police protection.
who's gonna go and check to make sure that there's porta potties there? I mean, that's gonna be whose responsibility?
They when a person comes in and applies, they should have the number. Like if I go to an auction or something, it tells you how many people it'll take care of. Now, if you got 350 people, I don't know how many you need, but you know you're going to need these.
Yeah.
And if the sheriff or somebody goes over there, say, hey, look, you're well, I don't know. We got
Health officer might, who knows?
If they're lacking on what, then you fine them for that.
Right.
If you only got 3-4 porta potties, you got 350 people. Come on, wake up here.
You know where the people will be all day, right in the line.
We have a lot of woods, what's wrong?
Okay, so I'm trying to move this on. Okay, moving to the second page where it says fees, non-refundable application for fee for a permit is 250. Can we agree that it's 100?
Sure.
Okay with that, everybody? Okay. The other thing that we talked about,
Do we also say 45 days on page 1 to match the state?
yes.
I think
what did
that'd
it
be a
say?
good idea.
Yeah.
Yep. 40, at least 45 days.
Right.
And if the event is canceled, is this fee refundable?
We're saying it's not.
No.
I don't think it should be, because you're still going through the
Same we do
effort.
with planning permits.
And I mean, I doubt if somebody is gonna schedule something, they may cancel it because of bad weather, but you know what? Sometimes that happens.
And they usually, if they
And
start-
sometimes you have the event just the same. It depends what it is. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been in places where you should just tough it out in the
Does it
rain.
address the rain
They
date?
put up some tents. I don't know, does it?
well,
So I
when they
mean, if
come in
somebody
and get
came
the.
in and had a rain date, then it
then-
was just one
then it's-
fee.
Well, it's covered. Well, it doesn't say that you can't have this thing go on for 3 days either. You know, they can have a 3-day event, they can have a 4-day event, they could have a week's event. The thing is that that's what we're looking at when we're giving the permit. We'll give it for a week if that's what they're holding, it says 5 days worth
If you
of
look at the
events.
definition here, it specifically says, it's a fundraising event, festival, exhibition, amusement show, fair, theatrical performance, road event. It doesn't say anything about weddings.
Well, if you go down to section
2.4.
4,
Okay.
Private party.
Okay.
that would
Nice.
fall in there.
For 350 or more people. That's when they get that
So
applied.
then ultimately, we would have the decision on whether
Yeah.
a permit is needed.
Yeah, and I think
I
that,
don't think we would waive that for a wedding.
Oh, that's
I
that's the
wouldn't.
select board's option, you know, that's what they can do. That, realize that this is coming in front of you as a select board, you're gonna look at what the guy's presented, you're gonna make a decision whether it's proper or improper, and say yay or nay. So all the discussions about that sort of, there is a list where they have to list the porta potty, the insurance, who the contact person is, all that stuff is part of this permit. So that, when we get it, we'll say, well, you didn't list the 2 people that you should be able to reach each day if you're holding it 4 days. If you only got 3 porta potties and you got 500 people here, something's wrong. We'll have that in the discussion. The real thing is to get them to come in and get a permit and do it. And I think that's really what this thing is set up to do. And actually, if I remember correctly, I took this from another town in Vermont. Is that where I got this one, or was it Maine? I know I looked at a couple of, but I think this one was Vermont only because it talks about Vermont.
So
Civil
are you gonna make yours a
court
motion, your suggestion a motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
I make a motion.
I'll
we-
second it.
We get down to
45 days and 100.
100 bucks.
Okay.
Because there's some administration fee that's gonna cost anyway, and $100 is, you know, seems pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, well, our permits for anything going in front of a hearing like this is $158.
And the main reason I think we want them to come in for this is because we want them to make sure that we wanna make sure they read this ordinance and they're gonna get their ducks in a row. That's what we
We
want.
want them to think about the right things, is what I was looking at.
Yeah, that's,
Instead of just holding an event, I want them to think, don't just say you got 3,000 or whatever number of people coming. What are you gonna do for those people? How are you gonna prepare for them? That's what you're trying to get them to think about. So,
and are we
Okay,
gonna
wait.
keep the private party separate? It doesn't say in 2.1 that it doesn't include private parties, and then 2.4 mentions
we
these
decide.
private parties. So I think if you're having a private party on a residential property for that, you should still fill out the ordinance. You still need the porta potties.
Well,
You
it's-
still need to make sure you've
well,
got
if you
the
read it,
parking.
that's-
You've still got,
not
You know.
covered by, it's not covered by 2.1. In other words, it's something that's not listed by name.
and we will
it's still-
we will
still-
determine
still
whether
re-
a formal
Yeah.
application
Yeah, you still
is
need to make
required.
the application.
So that's
one.
still, that should be 45 days also.
Yep.
yeah, well, the time and the money there and all that is, as far as I'm concerned, is to make sure that whoever wants to do this, that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
They're gonna have facilities, they're gonna pay for this stuff. And if they're doing something like a thrill show or a motorcycle race or a enduro thing or something, they gotta have people there that are gonna take care, say, in case somebody gets hurt, things like that.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you, but I think it's true for any, I don't think,
Oh, yeah.
it's true for anything. I don't allow weddings that size on my property.
Okay, Okay, here's
No way.
here's where we at with the changes that they talked about. On changes on page 1 was to change things that said 30 days to 45 days. And on the second page, it was to change the fee from 250 to 100. Okay, we're gonna leave the penalties as they are. And that's your 3-page ordinance. The rest of the stuff that they're filling out is really talking about their applicants and the application information, the porta potties, the other things that they're holding, the police, the fire department, signing off and so forth. So with that said, can we get a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
It's not being adopted,
Not being adopted, being put to a hearing?
to be on the agenda next week for
Approval.
adopted,
For adoption?
for adoption.
Okay, I got a motion to put it on next week for adoption.
I seconded it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Linda? So that gives somebody, they can come in next week if they wish. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
One thing off of the to-do list.
Another one that we can,
Can I keep this paper?
sure.
Yeah, you can because I had a second. That was my.
Yep. Okay. Okay, project list prioritization and schedule. Do we have a list?
Yeah. There are actually two, and
Which ones do you got? I got one here.
This is the one I had from
Project
last
list of
This one
June
and this one.
2018.
Yeah, that's what it
This is
was.
the one from 2018 that I have. What's the other? Oh, that's the one I typed up
One
a
was
Yeah.
while ago.
you typed this up and handed this out
Probably when we were
when we arrived. So yes,
doing the board, right?
you may share.
Let me look and see how much
Yeah.
is, we can make copies of this actually if every board member wants one.
The one, this was updated.
I'm gonna go do
Yeah, I'm gonna use the washroom, then you can make copies. We need at least 6 of them. More if people in the audience wish some, so.
All this talk of porta potties. Can we have a little break? I think Nelson went. I'm standing in line at the porta potty in the town office if y'all don't mind. See if what's-
Yeah, shouldn't drink all that stuff. Now there's a line in there.
I know, but why do you think I've lost 20 pounds?
Good job.
Yeah, I guess I'm all set.
That was my part.
You're lucky. You can leave when you want.
Yeah. See you later.
Jason.
Where you going? There's nothing good on TV tonight.
TV's I'm fine with that, but not too much now.
Marathon meeting. We're not even halfway there yet.
Hi, John.
Thanks, Fred.
Return to you.
See you later.
Please.
Really hot.
Wait, we opened the door here. Oh, this is the one. All right, so it is a different one. Let's see, these
Sorry, I
two
should
are
have said we
kind
were
of the
taking a
same,
few minute breaks there.
but not really.
You guys aren't in executive yet, right?
No.
I didn't space out and miss that?
No, we're not.
Okay. All
I
right.
just, that's,
I'm gonna feel really bad if I.
Oh, yes.
You guys like that
If she wants to do that.
I know, I got feedback today.
I'll try to remember that's in my pocket.
I'll find it a week from
I know I'm trouble.
her cell phone.
No, the number I called apparently wasn't right, and the lady called me back to correct it.
4003 is the last part number.
So I told her I was sorry. I'll take it out of the list.
Everybody
Brief
have a-
intermission.
If everybody has a copy of it, please review it, and we'll be starting in a minute to talk about this.
Are they very different, the two?
Everybody should have 2 of them now.
You got one?
It could be slightly different.
You should have one that's dated June 2018, and then you should have one thing that's on the to-do list. Hey, it looks like we might be close to getting this town plan done.
And town administrator.
Large gathering, maybe.
Which list are you looking at this list?
I'm looking at
this
the one I
list?
started.
Right.
This is, I should put dates on these things when I do this, this is gonna be long. I usually just keep it ahead.
New town office is not on here.
We actually discontinued a couple of roads too.
So new town office is not on the new list.
Nelson, did you get a copy? I revised what I
Yes,
had.
it is on the list.
Is that
This is
June?
yours.
No,
Last
we're
week's.
going-
It says
he's
June
looking at this
2018.
list.
That's it.
So we're gonna go by this list or this
Two of
list?
them, so
We're
I
gonna
don't
do
know.
both.
Merge them.
We're gonna see what's not on one.
And okay, so we'll just start with one and then go next and say we talked about it, okay.
Well, you did bring that foundation issue. Just gotta decide if you wanna do anything with it.
Yes.
Does executive session have to happen at the end?
It should, because what you do is you get people to leave that might wanna talk about something that's on the list. We should move along. If this looks to be.
This is gonna take a long time, it's already 8:45 and we have a long executive session too.
Next week.
It's up to you
I
guys.
hate to
Johnny,
keep moving it,
can we
but
move it to the 21st next week? It's really getting big. You're gonna end up with an agenda that looks just
So I'll
like
make a
this.
motion, we table this to the 21st.
I
This is the town
second,
list of, oh, yeah.
I second it, we still have a lot to talk about.
All right. All those in favor say aye. It's not here yet. So we'll wait for
I
him.
can't
I
imagine.
didn't even notice he was
problem.
missing.
I did.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm sure
How
you
did you notice?
Come on, guys, come on. Be simple.
Snorted. That's twice in one night, snorts.
That's fine. Okay.
Oh, Ronnie.
What? Well, we'll wait for
I love this, Linda. This is super helpful.
this is exactly that.
And that's exactly what I was hoping
Exactly.
we could.
Sometimes it doesn't
Exactly.
always work out like that. I just
Of
want
Of course,
you to know.
but so if we have this and it's subject to change, it would be great. I think we can make this, we talked about making it public last week.
I never
Schedule subject
I
to
never
change.
seemed to know, but it kind of fell together.
It's great.
What's scheduled?
Linda gave us a schedule of what's coming up in June at all the
Things I
meetings.
knew about, that's all.
Okay.
And if, once we do this, if we can make a schedule and make it public, that's saying subject to change, then people can
Yeah.
plan around knowing when we're gonna talk about stuff. Did you use the place too?
Alan, I had you scheduled for the 21st. Do you need the 14th?
No, 21st is fine.
Okay, because it just would move next meeting. Because you're gonna be a long time, I think, next meeting, because you have a proposal.
The next meeting is.
Oh, that's the town office one?
21. At 14 and 21, and we have our treatment plan.
21 is good.
We motioned to move project list to the 21st, since we still have so much to do.
That's a good idea.
Only because it's so long and it's time.
Did I second it?
You did. I spoke on your
You
behalf.
approved them all.
Because I know how much it's cool for me to do that.
Okay, moving on. We tabled the project list to another future meeting. What we're gonna talk about is the Pownal Housing Rehabilitation Revolving Loan Fund. What do you got about that?
So I found,
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I be moved up for the cash policy because I have already missed an hour of work waiting to come on?
This is the.
I'm not going to an executive session, just so if that's gonna be your next thing, then
That's what-
fine. But
Next thing. Okay,
When I was meeting
It's
with.
just a statement.
When I was meeting with Ellen, when I first joined the board and we were going through all over her accounting, she pointed out this fund that hasn't been used in several years, and it was established in '92, and I think when's the last time it was updated? If we saw, it might have been in '92 is the last time it was updated. And it's a fund to, with the a free loan, no percentage loan.
But it is a loan.
It's a loan, but it is a
Interest-free.
interest-free is the word I was looking for. It's an interest-free loan for the town if you're, I think it's if you're within a certain income bracket to get work done on your home. And so I just wanted to bring it back to light and update it, and
Okay,
we
well-
have money in the fund and let people know that this loan money exists.
We have money available. What we need to do is to get the information that, from the program that gave us this money. If you look in there from that date, they set guidelines with amounts and so forth where people can borrow loans.
Mhm.
We need to know what the update of that is before we can ever use this money or bring it out. So we need to,
This eligibility guideline is 1992.
I know.
We have to update
Yeah,
it.
it's
I
very
know,
cool.
but there's about $18,000 in the fund and it can't be used for anything else. And there's-
until we do that.
Right,
So-
so is this something that we pass to the town administrator once we have one?
Well,
Is
we
that
can
who
do
do-
that, we can do
who
that. and they
does
can-
that
they-
research?
They can find it, or Linda can add it to her list to check with probably whatever the agency was, and I don't remember right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
But they're,
Regional housing
Development,
availability.
Community affairs.
yeah, so basically what you would do is you'd have to go check there, they'd provide you with this list, then when you add it, staple it to it, have what money's involved, and then we can tell people out there if they wish to apply, here's the guidelines.
So can Linda, can you add that to your list of to-dos to look into it? Because I'd love to make that money available or
Sure.
in one way or another to town.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say about that.
Okay. Moving on. How about cash receipt policy? What's your pleasure, guys?
Are we going into executive or are we?
It's up to you guys. You can talk to it out here if you
I'm
wish.
not, I am not going in executive policy, or executive session, to
Right.
discuss the cash policy.
Okay.
It was mentioned last week, it was brought to you guys last week for half an hour meeting and open so that the whole town can know about the cash policy. So I feel
That's fine.
that it should still be discussed in, and I'm not going in executive.
Well, that's
Therefore,
fine.
I don't have to.
I wasn't suggesting, I was
I'm just-
asking what we should do.
I'm just
I'm new to the board
suggesting.
and still figuring it out, that's all.
Well, the option is to do that or not do that. And if a person doesn't want to go in, they don't have to go in.
Okay.
But I think if the issue is going to cover the person that doesn't want to go in, we'll talk about it.
Sounds
Right
good.
out here, yeah. If she doesn't have any trouble with that, right?
I have no issue with it.
No, then we'll talk about it out here. My understanding is that there was a policy that was passed and signed by the board and the treasurer. And basically, the policy went in effect on the 5th day of April 2018. And basically, what I'm hearing is that the policy's not being followed, even though it's a town policy. Somebody wish to enlighten me more?
I did not get a copy of the policy until mid-May, or the third week of May.
Okay.
And as far as I was told, that it's a policy that the treasurer had created. Okay? I'm assuming that it's the town treasurer's policy because we're all different departments.
Okay.
I'm out front, everybody has their own department.
Okay.
So I have been putting my envelopes with all my money, as I have been for the last year and a half, in the cabinet, as I was instructed a year and a half ago. Okay? I've been doing that with no issues. I turn all in my cash, I turn all my checks, I do it with all my reports that come off NEMRIC, that I hand in every Monday with my cash, checks, etc. Is it by 10 o'clock in the morning? No. 11 o'clock? No. When technically I don't have to be here till 10 o'clock? Yes, I am here at 20 after 8:30 to work on other issues. However, but that doesn't matter. So my thing is that if there's a cash policy and that we're all supposed to follow it, then why didn't I have input on her policy or anybody else that hands in money? We should all have say in it. I never seen the policy, nor I didn't even know when it was improved until Ellen gave it to me mid-May, as she gave me one that was a draft from 2011 when Clint was here, and it was for the treasurer. I have no problem with returning my money. However, I do if she's here, if all my money has to match the report, okay, that I turn in, and I separate my money when I turn in a report for my animal. This is my cash, this is my check, it's folded up, and I do it with the animal, the marriage, da-da-da-da-da. I turn all that in. Then I turn in my timesheet to Linda every Monday with an attachment sheet that you guys get with my time card, which was created by the auditors so that we could keep track of the auditing for out front. That way we have a record, all my cash that comes in, all my checks that come in. You guys have gotten it every week for the last year. So I didn't think there's any problem. One check had bounced, okay? Ellen mentioned that the check had bounced. She called the person. There's a $15 fee for a non-sufficient fund. She called, the lady came in with another check to pay to replace the first check that had bounced. Meantime, the lady had written 2 other checks that I had turned in. Okay, one is not my responsibility to chase people down for their money. It comes in, and everything that comes in is written for the town of Pownal. Thus, I turn over. I should not have to wait 2 weeks for a holding of a check. When I give Ellen it on Monday, she may go to the bank that day, but I know she goes to the bank a couple times a week. I don't get paid till Friday. So the checks are in the bank or wherever Ellen keeps it for at least the week. Whether it's the bank or whatever. I don't know what I know she has the money. Okay. So I have been trying to work with everybody. Yes, I still put my money in the cabinet as I've been instructed. Okay. She writes a receipt. If I'm off anything, she will give it back to me and say, you know, could you do that? I have no problem looking for my mistake because I was off $1 last year and I highlighted 4 color markers to find my dollar. I found the dollar. I turned it back in. So any other issue other than just that one check bouncing, I have no issues with it. However, last Monday, when she refused to take my money anymore in her email, I had gone to probate court on behalf of the town for the marriage licenses. Okay, I went to Bennington, filed the papers for probate. It was too much money because they had made a mistake in the fee. I come back to the town, I had a manual check written. So, I could have mailed it or no. I drove back to Bennington with a correct check. Okay, so thus, I wasn't back here in the office and to have time to generate my report to give her until Monday, or for the 11 o'clock time. Okay, not that it doesn't happen all the time. If she's here, I'll give her the money. She's not here, I'm gonna put it in the cabinet, as I've been doing for the last year and a half. So, I have not, like I said, I turn everything in, auditors can check it, anybody can check my records. I'll share with the town of Pownal, I don't care. I have nothing to hide. I show all the time what comes in, what goes. You guys look at it, or I would think you guys do when you do the warrants for our paycheck. Have any of you guys had issues with my money not matching or da-da-da-da-da? No, I haven't heard anything. So all of a sudden to have this big, huge blow up about not being receipted in hand, what is, one, it shouldn't be a big deal. The money's turned in, she writes a receipt, taxpayers come in.
You begin to repeat yourself.
Well,
And I understand. Okay, you have anything to say, Linda?
I also received an email. I'm just not used to a treasurer not accepting money. Like, that sounds bizarre, first of all. I did glance at the policy that she brought to the board during my absence while I was in North Carolina. Did I look at it line to line to know how it would impact me? No. I didn't realize how it would impact me until I received receipts that were stating that I left it in the box. I was given a key by Ellen to put a money bag in a secured drawer. There has never been a problem. I occasionally left checks in her treasurer mailbox and then decided if she didn't want me to do that because it was again written on my receipt, that I would use the lockbox that the residents use. That's the reason why they're here in her absence. I can't always have my deposit ready for her during her 2-hour window as well. So if I can't have it done, the board needs to give me a secure place to keep this money overnight until I can give it to her in the morning.
Okay. Well, got one more person I think
Oh,
who
I'm
wants to
sorry,
speak.
go ahead.
So, this didn't just arrive, just to let everyone know. I have been working on this policy for a few years. But in order to put a cash receipts policy together, and Linda, you and I did discuss this when I showed you the cash receipts policy, in order to have that happen.
Why did we come up with a policy at all? Was it
We have
something-
it's an internal control policy. It's not just a treasurer policy. It's part of an internal control policy that we have been
Reason being-
required by the external auditors for the past several years to do. And I have been trying to put one together, but I couldn't put one together when everybody wasn't handing in the money to the treasurer. But now that all groups of money, including the town clerk and every other money, the transfer station, everybody hands me their money now. Somebody needs to hold the money until they can get me the money. At the transfer station, if I can't be here on a Monday morning, then he gives it to me. He comes in on Tuesday or Wednesday. The people are responsible for their money until the money's handed to me to receipt to them. There is errors sometimes. I don't want to be liable for somebody's error. I want them there when I'm doing it. That way they can see that, okay, here, you know, Julie, here's what I found. And then she does correct it. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. It's an internal control policy.
That you have been advised to
That
do
I was
forever.
advised, and the board, it's in the external report every year. We need internal controls. This is part of it. And now that the town clerk also hands over all their funds to the town, now the policy, Linda's almost exact words were, this policy wouldn't have worked years ago, but it will work now, was your words when I had you read it. And that's the only reason. So if you guys aren't following the policy and I'm taking your money by just leaving it there when I'm not here, then I'm not following the policy. I am not going to be not following a policy, and it's not my policy. It is the town of Pownal's policy. The board read it. They were given it. I'm sorry that you find I'm not pinpointing you as doing anything wrong. The uncleared checks and the payroll issue that the clerk is speaking of, there was a policy set many years ago, and she is right, in 2011, and I showed it to her because a check came through and it reminded me, because I have to do the same thing for the delinquent taxes, is hold pay, because the checks need to clear the bank. If you're handing me checks on Monday and submitting your pay on Monday for the same checks you've given me, you haven't given them time to clear the bank. I understand you want to draw a check every week, and there's ways around that.
we need to figure that out.
And that was
we
your
can-
policy, Ellen, when
but-
I was tax collector.
Right,
too,
exactly.
10
So-
years ago.
So it's just following policy. It's just, and there is still an outstanding check. The town is not liable for someone's pay. If a dog license check bounces, $1 goes to Julie. So $1 of her pay, we're paying her that a check bounced. I'm not asking her to chase down the checks, but you can't submit pay for fees and have the town of Pownal be liable for if the checks didn't clear. It is very time consuming and very hard to reverse Social Security, federal taxes, state taxes. It's just not an easy policy. So if you make sure your check's clear, and I do go to the bank several times so that I can get them into the bank. I can't help it. If there's snail mail now, it's so slow. I don't always know. I don't always catch. I don't know how long it's going to take for one specific check to clear a bank.
Policy
that's-
is bigger than all of us. Policies are policies, laws are
But
laws.
it's internal policies.
Finish
It's not
talking
my
to the board.
policy. That's all I'm saying. I didn't do it to offend anybody in here. But the delinquent tax collector followed it, some of the policies years ago. The transfer station has always followed an unwritten policy. Do not give me, I don't want to take your money unless you hand it to me, ever. I just don't, I'm not refusing money. I'm just saying, there's no reason why if you've
According
been
to your
liable.
email, you
I
always-
did, I said, because of the policy, you weren't following policy.
Yeah,
Follow the
I
policy.
don't wanna get in an argument, we understand.
I
there's a
don't wanna
policy.
argue.
There's a policy, and what we have is a discrepancy in the fact of how people perceive how they should handle their money and hand it to the treasurer. You're the treasurer, you're the one that has to accept the money from the town, and if the auditors are telling you to do it a set way, we want you to follow that because we'll be written up by the auditors, the town itself will. Now, the real question comes down to, from what I'm hearing, and the board can jump in on this, is that there seems to be some time allotting issues that we see. Some of them are based on check clearing, some are based on you being here or you being here or vice versa at a time when it's convenient for these people to hand their money in. That's what I'm hearing. Now, I
So,
don't know.
yeah, that's what, I think that's close to what I was gonna say. It seems, so that it's twofold, right?
Right.
It's twofold. One is how long do you wait for the checks to clear? And the second one is getting the receipt when you hand over the money and doing it in person. So,
I'm here
And I guess
every
there's a-
morning. They
Yeah.
can hold their money for one
No,
more
I
day.
understand. I understand.
Is the point if I'm not here.
I understand.
Yeah.
But now, isn't there somebody holding the money? I don't think that's what we're hearing from Julie, right? Is that we don't, there is something, it's inconvenient, or it's actually, are they taking the money home? They have to put it in their box. They're responsible for it overnight.
Yeah, well,
Right.
For a whole week.
The clerk has a safe. If it
Yes.
came to the worst, the safe better be safe if you put money in it, so you can wait till the next day. I don't think that's so much of an issue, but she's gotta make sure that your schedule and her schedule line up. Otherwise, she can put it in a safe forever and not line up with you.
But
you're
I'm
both
here
in the
every day.
mornings, so
I'm
they
here
do
every
line up.
morning.
But are you here at the same time that she's
Yes.
coming in the morning?
Yes, so
Yeah.
if for some reason, like, if she did absolutely end up at probate, because I gave her a manual check, she had to go twice. She couldn't give me her money that day because it wasn't together and ready. Her weekend's on Friday, she locks up the money, does whatever she does with it for the weekend. She gives me her money on Monday or Tuesday or whenever she gets it added up. That's wonderful. If I'm not here, then hold it for the extra day. That is not secure. That is why they requested internal control policies, because stuff is not secure.
Okay, but
Then-
that takes care of one of the people that can meet with you, and it sounds like that's
I am
workable.
here every day.
The question is that Linda also collects money.
Mm-hmm.
I like to, I'm not worried about checks, putting them where I've been keeping them. My concern is though cash. Sometimes I could, somebody, 2 or 3, 4 people can come in one day, and now I've got enough cash that I'm not comfortable locking up where I keep it.
So let's get you a small safe.
So,
Yeah, that was,
They
what I was
do-
gonna
That's
say.
why I use the box over
Well,
here
let's
that
get,
the
but you're not getting
residents are
receipted, and the problem is,
Right.
you could, if you drop something in a box, it hasn't, not that it's happened,
It has a
but it could
report.
happen.
It has a report.
It doesn't matter, especially if you're putting cash in. What if you say,
And I
your
have to
report
have a, I just
says,
have to have a place.
Can I finish
Give me a
talking?
place.
if you were to put in $4,000 and your paperwork says $5,000, and Ellen comes in and it's $4,000, not $5,000, and you say, but I put in $5,000, then what?
Well, I'm
So we
gonna-
just get a small safe for you, and you wait until the next morning to give her a
If
check
that-
and get receipted.
Yeah, but you've gotta get something that's secure enough for her to do that, is
Yeah,
where
let's
I'm
get a
at.
safe.
Okay.
Because,
Can I ask a question? You keep saying a secure place. Is it or is it not that the residents of the town, when they have taxes or sewer, do they not put their money in that box there? Or they go over there to Ellen's box, or they go to Linda's box to put the money in? Why is it that the residents of the town can use the boxes where we have to hand give her?
Because that's the policy.
You know what? You're gonna tell the residents that they have to.
No, no, no.
That's not their
The
policy.
residents
This is
are
your
different.
policy.
This is, that's different. This is
Okay.
internal
This is an internal
controls.
policy.
Okay, you know what? I can tell you with your internal policy and your cash policy, I was told, and I'm gonna do it, that I can cut ties with the town of Pownal for the
Okay.
treasurer. I can have my own checkbook
yep,
and whatnot. So, going forward, I can tell you, I'm opening a checking account with a debit card so that people can pay by debit card. That way, we don't have to worry about the cash policy anymore. I don't have to hold or wait for checks because I get paid by fees. I should not have to wait for a check to clear to get paid when I'm a fee clerk. Yes, she might be able to go 2 weeks and wait for her pay, but she gets a little bit more than I do. So I can open a checking account, which I am gonna do. Then I will be responsible to pay the state their share of the money. Then I will write a check to the town of Pownal for their share of the money. And then every week I will write a check to the town of Pownal for my payroll so that the taxes are taken out, the whole 9 yards. And then if I make $1,000 one week, I don't have to claim that $1,000 because my report don't match my pay for that day. Because I have to go by reports because these ones I turn into you guys, I can't turn into the treasurer. I turn in reports from the computer that's generated from the computer. So I will make it simple. I will open my own town clerk checkbook. I will pay the bills that I need to pay, and I don't have to worry about hand delivering the money anymore. I have tried to make it easy to work together with everybody. However, obviously, it's not gonna happen that we're gonna all be able to work together. So I'm honestly gonna try to be the better person and still work with everybody and still do my job and still serve the residents of the town. I have to go back to work, so.
okay, thanks.
Can I ask you to move your car out of the handicap parking spot?
Yes,
Because
I'm
it's not
leaving.
working. It doesn't look good for
I'm
you to be
leaving
parked
right
in
now.
handicap.
It's okay. I'm leaving now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Shirley. Okay,
I'm sorry, that is not what I want to happen. I was required to do that.
You would,
I'm sorry.
It's, there's nothing to be sorry for. She's within her right to do it that way, and now you don't have to worry about it, and that's fine.
I do if it's under our EIN number.
yeah, well, that has to be worked out and managed
Get my keys in my
correctly.
spot.
Well,
Thank you.
So she needs to set it up
we've
correctly.
done this in the past where the clerk has handled their own money, and that's. what
She can be
happen.
liable for her own money then.
I'm fine with that, absolutely.
That's her choice. 'Cause
Absolutely.
She's an elected official, she can do what she wants.
And then
Okay.
we still need a secure place to keep money overnight.
For Linda,
need
we
it.
need a safe for Linda.
We need something for Linda to be able to put money. So, with that,
I mean, the other thing, Linda, you could always, if you wanted to, 99% of the time I am in town, if you get a wad of cash and do a deposit and you would like to hand it over, I can come receipt you. All you have to do is call, I always tell you, just give me a buzz. I mean, if you want to. You still need a place to put your,
I would like a
you do
secure
need a place to put it, I
Just to
agree.
get broken into and I'm just not
I agree.
comfortable anymore.
I
Small
agree,
savings
thank
isn't
you.
gonna be that expensive.
I
We
do
should just
agree
get
with
one. Yeah,
Get a small-
I actually looked
we should
them
have
up.
one anyway.
I don't know how big we need, but they're
Well,
anywhere
it's
from
for
a couple
checks.
of hundred to.
Oh, we don't want somebody to just pick it up and walk out the door.
Well,
No,
right,
they-
and I looked at that.
Actually, you have
Secure.
somebody secure it to the floor. We do it, in another place I work, they have one secured to us, to the floor. They cannot just rip it out
Yeah,
and
it's totally reasonable. for
Carry
you
it
to have
away.
saved.
Yeah, so let's look into it, let's get it done.
For about 150 pounds and about $400.
So, but $400 well worth, I mean, there'd be
Yeah.
way more than that in it at times. so.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's do that, and that should help us with that side of it. Okay, any other issues with this policy?
No, everyone else seems to be.
Okay, moving on. Thank you for coming in.
yes, you're welcome.
Okay. The rest of the stuff that we have is, one is for gravel purchase, and then need to go in executive session, the personnel, and outside auditor inquiry, we need to do that too. But before we do that, there's one thing that I did miss. It's not that one, it's this one. The BCRC has requested additional funding to finish up with the town plan and working on the village destination. This was in the mail, so I assume everybody saw it. And what they're asking for is, let's see what this contract.
More than the original allotment was. He did tell us that. It was
Yeah, the original allotment
an extra.
was 11,250. The BCRC has spent 13,146 already. The BCR is requesting a total reimbursement for the work to complete the town plan and village destination not to exceed 5,000, which would make the total for all the work not to exceed 16,250. So, with that, I would take a motion to basically agree to do the work not to exceed 16,250, which is including the 13,146 already. What's your pleasure? You wish to do that? It says the town agrees to reimburse BCRC in an amount not to exceed $5,000 to be billed time spent, including the June 30th, which they already said they've spent.
Which is what they're asking for.
Yeah, they're asking for 5,000.
Move for approval.
I second.
Any further discussion on this? This,
They put in the time, they have to get paid.
yes, but you should be aware that they're moving on village destination. They're gonna move on to town bylaws.
Yep.
So this is gonna be an ongoing thing for a while, just so you know when we get to budgeting, which I know is a ways away, but we should think about that. Okay, you have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Opposed? Nays?
I think we overpaid them already, sorry.
So you're,
I guess I'm an A.
you're a nay, okay.
They've spent a lot more time than
Yeah.
they had planned to.
Yes, I know, but they told us how much it would cost.
Up
Yes.
front, I know.
When you tell somebody how much it's gonna cost, you
Well,
should
then
stay
someone
somewhere near
changed
it.
half the plan, so
Well,
it
we got-
cost the town money.
But I'm a small
Well, it's an
small time business guy.
it's clear, the point you're bringing up is true, but it's good to have people involved.
Yeah, but that's why it's more
And we need to know
expensive.
that when they do that we as a town need to be willing to spend money to make sure it's done right. Okay,
can I bring up something? And I should have brought it up at the mail.
go ahead.
I recall receiving an email to the board that I didn't see in the mail about our BCRC commissioner, or our BCRC representative was requesting to go to a Bridges Out of Poverty workshop. And I didn't see it come up in the
Didn't see it
mail.
in the mail, but
I don't recall seeing it. She
but
wanted
it
to
should
go
be
where?
fine.
Oh, she might have, okay, I'll have to look it up. I'm not sure what date it was.
You pass that
I
down
don't
to
see
Linda.
anything like that. Where did she want to go?
It was a Bridges Out of Poverty workshop, and I forgot who was putting it on.
So long as it's town related, there's no problem. We made that, and the board was willing to approve those. We just wanted to know about them.
And just so everybody knows, I'm not texting anyone, I'm looking at it.
Hey. You and those electronics, remember I thought you said
Yes,
you
I
didn't
know.
want them up here.
Could be a basket, like an Easter basket, there, throw all that stuff in it.
I got one.
That one has to do with policy, so they'll go in there. See what else I got left here. Oh, hey, you wanna get Joel out of here?
Gravel.
You wanna move into executive session for gravel purchase?
I make a motion, to go into executive session for
I
contracts.
second it.
Okay.
Do we have something else to turn over to the lawyer, Nelson?
Oh, yeah, we have outside auditor inquiry too. You wanna do that first? It'll be quick.
Do that first, then we can go into executive session.
I
Okay.
unsecond.
Okay. Basically, we have a request from the auditors for a response to do with, an issue with the town, without even going in it. I think everybody's seen it. It's in their thing. Can we get a motion to send that on to our attorney to get an opinion?
I make a motion to send it to the attorney to get an opinion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thanks, Ronnie. Okay, so the only other thing we have is personnel and this gravel purchase
Personnel and contracts.
and contracts. Okay.
Do you read
Aye.
motion?
Do you want to do that quick?
I resend, huh?
Can you do that one? I assume the personnel and the contract
That's
is to do with the
executive.
town administrative?
No,
Oh.
no, I have a separate one
All
from our
right.
mail.
Okay, we'll wait on that then. Let's do the gravel. I get a motion going for the gravel. Got one? A second?
I second again. I make.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, we're in.
I have to